Testing. Test. 1, 2, 3. All right. It is time for some D&D action. I don't know why I'm talking like this. I am trying to find the miniature. A picture from long ago. Alright, just finishing up some tokens here, looking through the massive library of tokens I have from 10 years of doing D&D online. I wanted some specific NPC tokens and faces for tonight's game. Why don't we start the show? Yeah. I think randomly did the same thing, Kinta. Oh, it's such a cool song. Alright. We're here to play D&D, not listen to music. I wish we could do it at the same time. Alright, that was Escape from Midwich Valley by Carpenter Brew. Let us close this up and start the show, shall we? Local recording started, which is filling up my hard drive, which is rapidly running out of space. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to Die Drink and Die presents Dread and Circus, episode 3. I'm your DM and host, Marty, joined by Mark tonight. The whole purpose of Dread and Circus was to be the fallback campaign for when we didn't have the right configuration of players or enough players at the table so that we could continue to play. Also, I wanted to create a campaign world where I could just kind of pick away a little bit at a time at creating the campaign world itself. It is still part of the same Martyverse, as it's been called, the kind of like the same story universe between the Legends campaign, the Demon Watch campaign. Dominion is also part of that campaign verse, and Dread and Circus will be as well. Mark, how's it going tonight?
I'm good.
Awesome. Good to see you. Yeah, Ahmed's doing stuff with family tonight. Adam is on like a family trip. And some of my players from my Sunday game have been invited to, whenever it's convenient, stop by and join the Dread and Circus game. I don't know if they're going to stop by tonight, but we will figure out if they can. So Dread and Circus so far, to allay any confusion, I call this one episode 3 because in our episode, our several episode or 2 episode zeros, we actually did role-playing. So what I'll do is I'll edit, like the bane of my existence is doing video editing. I almost refuse to do it. But I will edit it enough so that the character creation is separated from the actual play. And we had 2 sessions of play. One session, so episode 1, which we called, let's do a short recap here. We called that The Road of Sorrow. 5 refugees from the continent of Stygia were taken from their homes and find themselves slaves traveling down the Road of Sorrow. Their martial might is tested in the den of a cabal of necromancers. And then last game, what did I call last game? I don't think I wrote a write-up for last game. Bad DM, bad. Okay, open up the campaign sheet. I think we did give it a name at least. Yes. No, we didn't. What do you want to call last game, Mark? The game where the Masters were introduced.
The Masters?
Well, okay, so the Young Masters. All right. And in that game, we basically shifted from the slaves that were perhaps destined to be gladiators and went to the Imperial City, where these 3 masters are kind of dealing with some bungling overlords of a gladiatorial stable. They're not gladiators, but they're the people that are responsible for the success of the gladiatorial stable. And they were trying to figure out what the games would be that would entertain this this child prince of the Imperium, who is basically has reached the age of what, 7 is what I said? Yeah. And is thus allowed to see the Imperial Games at the Tri-Coliseum in the Imperial City of Vaddapol. So the world that I have, that is under the thumb of the Imperium, which is a human-centric empire that has a god called the Five-Faced God, and they have romper-stomped and rolled over many worlds, including this world of Turak. And on Turak, they have conquered one of the continents, the continent of Avacia, and they're currently conquering Stygia, which of course they named because they are conquerors and thus thus get to name what are the labels on an atlas or a gazetteer. Sort of like they get to write the history if they continue to win. But there's something curious about this world, where they conquered these nations perhaps so quickly that they had lots of cultures to contend with, sort of a standard D&D milieu of cultures. Elves, dwarves, halflings, gnomes, orcs, that sort of thing. And they had a unique or a different approach to conquering and sort of subjugating these people. They allowed them to keep their culture and their deities, so long as it all sort of got funneled into the games that entertain the Imperium. Thus, the Imperial Circus was created, and you can picture the main capital city, a teeming throng of 1 million or more souls, as the center of their civilization here. But there are many outlying towns and other places where there are minor gladiatorial pits, sort of like the B and C leagues of gladiatorial conquest, or the gladiatorial games. We're going to so tonight, instead of rolling up a random gladiator, kind of like that was like a soon-to-be gladiator slave, and instead of playing the masters, I decided that let's have a view of what the gladiatorial fights are going to be like. So I asked Mark to create a 4th level, sort of like a gladiatorial mercenary, somebody who has had their fights before, and basically uses this as a way to earn money. Like, they're not necessarily a slave. And then maybe we'll ask Mark a few questions about who this character is. So tentatively, the tentative title is Mercenaries, although I like, as you guys have known, to name the sessions after the session is done, because most of the stuff isn't really scripted. It's stuff that is all consequence and die rolls and interaction. And I've learned that to try to railroad your players does not equal, in all cases, the maximal amount of fun.
We do not enjoy.
We will give some. There is a railroady element to this campaign, though. Like, you're in a gladiatorial pit, deal. There's kind of a structure, but in order for us to do this episodic type structure, yes, there will still be some Marty like overarching plot lines. And the more we play, the more that I will hint at those plot lines, and the more that will be revealed. It could very well lead to overlap or crossover between the campaigns. So I'm going to not probably define an exact year, just to keep it. Yes, I'm going to have to make some decisions, which I have not made yet. To be honest, on how that crossover would work. But for now, a 4th level gladiator in a pit does not care about the heroes that are off in other worlds not controlled by the Imperium. And yeah, basically that describes both Demon Watch and Legends. Let's move to the character that Mark's cobbled together this afternoon, and let's talk a little bit about Neidzer Creigh. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Neidzer Creigh. I'm going to drag him into the character section, Mark.
Okay, yeah.
He is going to be a gladiator. Like, he's already fought as a 4th level dude. Let's answer some questions about Neidzer Creigh. So let's show Neidzer Creigh. Actually, I've got a token for him. Why not? Well, let's use that.
Are we on conversation?
I think we're on conversation layer. Yeah. Okay. Just ignore Vestra for now, or Vesta.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And I will put your token, if I can find where I put my tokens. Vaddapol is the name of the city that you're in. All right, there's Neidzer Creigh. Wow, what a put him on that guy.
Hi, Mom.
So tell me a little bit about Neidzer Creigh. Why is he a gladiator?
Neidzer Creigh is a gladiator because he has adopted this old religion. He's a little mad. He's obsessed with death. He worships death. He sees himself as a gladiator, as someone who can feed death itself. And every soul he sends to the afterlife is a sacrifice to his god.
Got it. So I really like that. What's different from Terrak from other worlds, and this is like Marty GM three bullet point notes, is that there is a piece called the Pax Religio Temporum, for me to just butcher Latin. We'll call it fantasy Latin. It is a lax law in the Imperium on the exclusivity of religion. On other worlds, it's the five-faced god or no god, basically. Because they had to have a different approach, or it might have been much more difficult to conquer this world with following a single god only. They allowed the conquered nations to keep their religions, and so long as the religions basically paid taxes to the church, as well as provided enough offerings to, yes, exactly, as long, that is now a running gag because of Ahmed. We are now kicking that dead horse, Drakester. Good to see you. The thing is,
thanks, Ahmed.
That's the character's secret. He can't go around saying that, or he's going to find himself so quickly back into the gladiatorial arena as a slave. No, don't apologize. It was a really funny moment. But yeah, that was one of Ahmed's master's secrets. Anyways, all right. So the Pax Religio Temporum means that the pantheon of gods, or the multiple pantheon of gods that were worshipped on this world, are kind of under the thumb of the Imperium. And they've collected together in communal worshipping places. So it's like there may be a temple, but it's the temple to the old gods. And all of these like potentially normally conflicting religions can only practice at those same places. You built a monk, right?
Yeah, he's a monk.
Okay,
he's
so
a monk.
This extends even into monastic orders. So, in order for the monastic orders to survive, they had to form just like one big monastic order, sort of like a society or an organization, whereby they promised to follow the rules of the Imperium, not to proselytize. You're not allowed to go around saying, worship my god. Like, that's one rule that they can't do. But you can cast your spells within reason, and you can use your powers in the gladiatorial arena. You can't make money from your religion. Like, you can't ask for donations, and you can't proselytize. Like there's a set of rules that they don't want this religion spreading, but religions are hard to just basically destroy via just via conquest. So the monastic orders also, especially in this town of Vaddapol, we're gonna zoom to a smaller city, not the Imperial City. Vaddapol is a large city that boasts the Vaddapol Civic Arena. And they have a bunch of B-League minor gladiatorial stables, one of which is a monastic order that is a collection of the old monastic orders. They are called the Grand Order of the Fallen Monastic Traditions. That's a mouthful. Also known as the Fallen or the Monks. Picture a bunch of monk schools and orders that have been forced to cohabitate in the same city. They are still rivals of each other, but are living under this sort of umbrella of an organization. To the point where some of the schools spend more time fighting each other in the gladiatorial arenas to prove whose
kung fu is strongest.
Whose kung fu is strongest, precisely. They're a very factious monastic order, which is ironic for being like all lawful. So the city of Vaddapol is sort of overrun by these monastic orders. The Brotherhood of Dissolution is, I think, what Neidzer Creigh will be a part of. They are a death-focused monastic religion. And then the Order of Divine Light sounds like they would be antithesis to you, and there might be a few others, but you're all underneath this sort of yoke. There are a few other stables, the Knights of Vaddapol, which are like the good old boys that pretend to be knights, they're the local favorites. There's the Civilized House of the Grim Goblin, the Broken Shield, the Sea God's Fury, and the Guild of Beast Tamers. We'll encounter those as things go on. But Neidzer Creigh, so let's talk a little bit about him. So he's he's from the monastic order, which means that he's learned how to fight,
Yes.
and has been forced to fight in gladiatorial combat. And does he like it, or is he?
He likes it because it allows him to provide sacrifices to death without any ramifications. It's actually encouraged. He sees the arena as one grand altar to the god of death.
As a grand altar to death itself. Okay. So he differs in that he's not a slave. Although, it's like, to what degree are people slaves in this society? He's not like he isn't like somebody. He isn't property. He does have to, when his lot is drawn from his monastery, to fight on behalf of his school. But in his free time, because he seems to be a zealot, if I get this correctly, he actually hires himself out as a gladiatorial mercenary.
He does, yes.
Okay. All right, so the guy doesn't seem to have many scruples aside from being really devoted to death. What is his alignment?
It's lawful neutral.
Okay.
He's can go either way. He doesn't like go around murdering people because death comes in its own time. But at the other hand, once he's in the arena, he's got no qualms about taking that thumbs down to where it's supposed to go.
Got it. All right, so let's look at his background. So monastic zealot, background skill stealth. He's got the jabbing style, and I'm going to create a trait called Death Touch. Because of his time spent around death, he'll receive a +2 trait bonus versus necromancy and death effects. Yeah. Just because he's been around, like some pretty creepy necromancy. He is a monk inquisitor. So instead of rolling this guy up randomly, I kind of went, okay, there are probably some mercenaries, and this character may end up being this freelance gladiator, and there may be a few of them in the city of Vaddapol, and even more of them in the Imperial City, that the stables themselves could hire. So this character, while Mark created it, this could be a guy that a rival stable hires to fight your dudes, or that you guys go, oh, we heard about this guy. Oh, but he's a little bit creepy. We'll get him for better or worse. All right. Okay, so the first scene with Neidzer Creigh. I think we had a really good list of questions for the masters.
Yes, we did.
Why don't we answer some of those questions about Neidzer Creigh before we start?
Sure.
Let's see where
that was under generation, I think.
Yeah, where did I put those? Meta character template? No. Sandbox. A master rough list. Okay. So we answered the first one. Why do we love gladiatorial contests? Let me paste it at the bottom of your sheet.
Okay.
So why does he love gladiatorial contests? He sees the gladiatorial combat in the arena as just a giant offering to the god of death.
Yep.
Why does he hate them? Like, what does he not like about them?
Because sometimes death is not is denied. When they give the crowd gives the thumbs up, he's denied his due.
Death is denied too often. Okay. Given that he is not Imperial, like he's not Imperial blooded, he's not an Imperial, he's from the continent of Avicii, or at least his parents were, his lineage was. What does he love about the Imperium?
That they've provided a sense of order to society that lacked before.
What does he hate about them?
That he is that his religion is denied its rightful place as the rightful religion of the world. This five-faced god nonsense.
Okay, so are you a religious sort? I think we answered that one as yes.
Yep.
Zealot. Okay. What is his secret?
His secret. Oh, it's a good secret for this guy. So creepy. It's like, why would I hide that? I kill people on a regular basis.
He likes puppies or something.
Yeah. Oh, terrified of rabbits.
Oh no! Adam wanted to create the rabbit headed.
Secret.
Oh, wait, we can come back to that one. What are your
we'll
goals?
come back to that. Maybe it'll come to me as we play. I don't know. Or it'll come up during game.
Yep.
And that will be the secret.
What are your goals?
His goal is to feed his god as much as he can and bring notoriety to his religion so that others may taste his glory.
Does he so we're using, I kind of just for speed, I said the Greyhawk gods, or some of the Greyhawk gods were on this world before it was conquered, and there are a few others. Are you picking one over another? Are you saying that you, like, this guy sounds like a devotee of Nerol?
All right, Nerol, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not that familiar with Greyhawk gods, so I'll just take your word for it.
Nerol is like the boogeyman of death. Like, murder is his thing.
Okay.
Okay. Nerol's alignment is lawful, or is neutral evil. So if you wanted to Nerol as opposed to Weejas is more of a benign goddess of death. She's lawful neutral with the evil tenants. She's a magical goddess.
Oh right, I remember. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I'll go with Nerol, and I'll change his alignment to lawful evil.
Okay. How did you become a gladiator? We already answered. It is the duty of the Brotherhood. Does he have any family or contact ties?
None anymore.
No family. All right, so loves and fears.
Loves.
What aside from his religion? Well, actually, does he fear his religion, or does he like?
No, he sees death as the final reward. But you cannot seek death; death must seek you.
Okay. All right. Aside from death, what is this dude like? 'Cause I don't know if he's capable of love.
Yeah. He does like to train.
Okay. He likes physical fitness.
Martial. He likes physical fitness, martial arts, basically. Hence the monk thing. And philosophy.
Oh, he's a philosopher. Okay.
He hates compassion. Is that a line to say clerics of other gods?
Clerics of other religions? Okay.
Yeah. His secret actually could be he hates the five-faced god and has to keep that to himself. Perhaps he even killed priest or something. I don't know.
Through death, one will find his path. I like that one. We usually put little sayings underneath there. What was? How did you say it, Mark? You could see death is the final reward.
Death is the final reward, but death must. But you may not seek death. Death seeks you.
Not a crit. Like, just so. What's with the tattoos, dude?
He has been a gladiator for a very long time. He excels at being a gladiator.
So it's randomly just fuck the 5-face god. So it's F G 5 F G. Funny. Okay, all right.
That's funny. That's very funny.
That's pretty good. Fear.
He fears. He fears being relegated to the kind of slavery where he's not allowed in the arena.
Slavery without his religion, basically.
Yeah, slavery without his religion.
What about this? Given that he's a philosopher, he's a cleric inquisitor monk. Like, this is going to be a disgusting combo, I imagine.
Flurry of blows.
Does he think that death is a final reward because you get to go to an afterlife, or does he fear like being turned into undead and then finding oblivion? Like, what kind of afterlife is it that is rewarded? Like, would he fear oblivion? Would he fear becoming an undead thing and then being destroyed and not getting to go to an afterlife?
No.
Okay.
He pictures his own death as either he becomes undead or he serves in the afterlife as a spirit for death.
Got it.
He'll serve on the material or serve in the afterlife.
So he's not afraid of undead things.
He's not afraid about the undead, no.
Okay. Rivalries, friends, debts, weird collections, substance preferences, quirks. It feels like tattoos are his thing.
The tattoos are his thing. Loves the tattoo.
Got it. So there is an obvious connection here between this guy liking tattoos and the master that you created, which was a tattoo artist. Yep. However, given that gladiators, we already established, given that gladiators often can't carry the equipment they want to into the ring, they're restricted by the magic items that they can own and carry. So we've basically established that there is a culture of having your magic items inked onto you so that you can carry them everywhere you go. So it's not just your master's character, and it's not just this guy who's into tattoos. Most gladiators will celebrate their becoming blooded as a gladiator with a tattoo.
I did come up with the idea that he does have a preferred weapon.
Okay.
And that is a 3-section staff made of femurs.
That's awesome. That's his monk weapon?
That's his monk weapon, yeah. When he's allowed to carry it in.
Got it. So, cool. Do you need that to be a favored weapon in order for some of your feats to work?
No, they don't need to be favored weapons. Oh, the guiding hand, it needs to be a favored weapon, but otherwise, no.
Are you fine with that not being his favorite weapon, or?
Oh, no, I'm fine with that, yeah.
Okay. That's not meeting the rule of cool, though. Such an odd weapon to make your entire order.
All right. How about the guiding hand works for the... Oh, fuck, then my...
You want it to work for the guiding hand, is what you're saying.
I do, but I want the guiding hand to also work for the unarmed strike, because that's going to help out with hitting with like stunning fist and things like that.
I'd be willing to increase that feat for your order as long as the weapon's made out of bone.
Done. I'm not going to say no to that. That's awesome.
So bone weapons will apply. That doesn't mean your unarmed strike does, but then maybe he fights with weapons instead.
But his fists are made with bones.
I think you'd have to take a second feat if you wanted to apply to unarmed strike. I wouldn't say no to it, but I think it's feat worthy.
Okay, I will take the second feat.
Okay. Cool.
Later, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. That I think is enough. I think we're going to start with a scene where Neidzer Creigh is having... He's entered into a new relationship. So one of the most famous people in Vaddapol, and we've got actually a map of Vaddapol if you want to see it. So I will go to the Vaddapol map as a DM and force you guys there. So Vaddapol is on the main continent of Avacia. It was conquered by the Imperium long ago. It is a major stopping point along the Road of Sorrow, which is the road that all the slaves from Stygia get marched down towards the Imperial City. This is a sizable, it is a small city. They boast the Vaddapol Civic Arena, as well as a few other things. The Market of the Old Gods might be interesting for your character. There is a shrine that represents the pantheon of the old gods. This is where your worship would happen. Right underneath the shadows of the Towers of Faith. So these three towers were converted into a church of the Five-Faced God, and they loom over the Market of the Old Gods. All the rich people live in the Heights. It is a trade city, as well as much of the coin is spent on slaves and gladiatorial arenas, on their civic arena. The Duke, a Duke rules over this place. The Duke is partially Imperial blooded, so he's like the actual authority of this place. But there is, because of the mixing of cultures conquered and currently being conquered. This is a vibrant trade city, and parts of it may be actually loosely, like, there may be room to chafe underneath the Imperium. Not everything is followed to the letter of the law here. There may be a lot of graft. And then you've got a bunch of battling monk schools that actually are still allowed to run their schools, and then they fight in the streets, and then, you know, there's crackdowns, and they fight in the civic arena, and you're part of that madness.
Okay.
Not enough killing of your ancient foes are going on, but we can only do it when Granddaddy Imperium is not working, is not looking. Yeah. Okay, so here's a view of Vaddapol that you're in. And then the Vaddapol Civic Arena we'll get to in a few moments. So Vaddapol is where at least that you ended up, and where you've spent your career as a gladiator, and where you were trained as a monk. Oh yeah, the reason why I wanted to go to Vaddapol is, where is the monastery of the Brotherhood of Dissolution?
Why don't we put it?
Oh my god, there's such a demand for that though.
It's going to be away from the Heights.
I know, but creepy people want it. I'm thinking I might just cross the line.
Let's put it, like, back here.
Okay. All right, so the Brotherhood, this long building, that is where your monastery is. And then the other monastery, there are more than two, but the ones that you do not like are called memory. I just said it and then I forgot it. Something pious sounding. The Order of the Divine Light. So the monastery of the Order of Divine Light.
Okay.
Is this we'll make it one of the buildings that's sort of overlooking the town.
Okay.
Kind of on a height, we'll say. Oh, they're all small. Oh, there we go.
I just thought of something, Marty.
Yeah.
The background feat we picked, I think, relies on unarmed strike.
Yep.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. We're good. We're good. Yeah, it's good. I'll use it later.
Order of the Divine Light.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of monks that basically try to oppose the Brotherhood of Dissolution. So the Brotherhood of Dissolution basically has the stance that if this pantheon of gods and their followers is to fail, then it's by your hand that you will send them off. And the Order of Divine Light does not want to fail.
Okay.
All right, so you've got some rivals inside of this town, and of course the Towers of Faith. All right, so you have gone through a bit of a drought. For some reason, some of the gladiatorial stables don't want to hire you.
Do they fear success?
You're pretty certain that it maybe there might be some. It might be due to some of the skirmishing, like in the streets between the various monasteries, that nobody wants to hire monks in general because they don't want to get involved in the internal battles of the fallen.
Okay.
Like they're fine letting you guys fight it out. So that's meant like a little bit less of sacrifices to your deities, and the Brotherhood of Dissolution. Yes, you have your duty, to go and perform your duties inside the civic arena, and then for those that are really higher up in the hierarchy. They may command you to have duties outside of the arena, and this starts to wander into the gray territory between what is actually lawful to your religion versus lawful to the society.
Mm-hmm.
But you find yourself starting to fall out of favor because several of your other monk brothers have found jobs and have found ways to sacrifice. Like, these are things that are tallied. And, like, the masters of your monastery keep track.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm not meeting my monthly quota. I get you.
You are not meeting your quotas, and you're starting to fall out of favor. You do realize that there's a lot of money, and I don't know if you have skills on how to make money.
No, his skills involve killing people.
Got it. So you ended up trying to find a rich backer to pay for your fights as an independent gladiator.
Okay.
Now, there are some independent gladiators that you don't want to mimic. These would be the common criminals and slaves that are owned by the city itself.
Yeah.
These are the people that are basically pushed out into the arena to die. And even if they are, like, repeat gladiators, their stables are horrible. Like, horrible pits of disease, and they're not treated well. Like, you demand, because you are a cleric of the gods of death, not to be treated like a common cut purse.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, you're not throwing me in a pit with rabid dogs. It's not happening.
One of the people that was surprisingly open to hiring you did so under a condition.
Okay.
You know her as in that you got from her and her tattoo artists most of your tattoos. In fact, anyone with any coin goes to see Vesta Iral. Vesta Iral is a elven witch.
Okay.
She has a guild of tattooists that are in Vaddapol.
All right.
She wears the skulls of her dead familiars as tokens. You know that she's registered. In fact, you've seen this scroll that she has out in her shop, that she's registered with the Imperial Ministry of Arcana. And stamped on her registry document is travel restrictions.
Okay.
And she is basically at the center of her own guild of tattoo artists. She can create magical tattoos. She and her tattoo artists, similar to how gladiators get around like being different than the Imperium, the tattoo artists seem to be a collection of wizards and witches and warlocks that are able to kind of avoid a lot of the restrictions of the Ministry of Arcana by providing these services to the gladiators.
I see. Okay.
So I've got her token on conversation. She and her tattoo artist know a lot of the gladiators. And you may not be getting the best deal because I think... Yeah, they would know a lot about how, what the current status of gladiators are. A lot of gladiators celebrate their victories by getting tattoos following their victories.
I see. All right. I haven't got many recently.
You're waiting in the tattoo parlor. It's not like you don't actually... This is one of the few places that you don't stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And you were actually waiting for Vestra. You found a leaflet saying that she was willing to sponsor some gladiators, or she's looking for a blooded gladiator, and there are several others in the waiting room.
Are they also? Are they waiting for tattoos, or are they responding to this leaflet?
There are tattoo artists that are not doing anything at the moment, like they're cleaning their implements and sort of standing around chatting. It suggests that they're not here for a tattoo. Let's see if we find another mercenary. Ah. I think we created a Inquisitor warrior. I think the stream rolled up this guy.
Oh yeah.
I've actually filled out his character sheet, so I'm gonna reuse him. This is something that you guys created a couple weeks or within the last week or so. It was a half-elf Inquisitor warrior who was a hermit. But he got thrown into slavery. Maybe not. That's not the right one. What about old Vigo?
Old Vigo.
No,
Vigo. I can help.
Yeah, Vigo looks. Okay, so these guys are like first level dudes. Let me find a different mercenary. All right, we will. Actually, you know what? Instead of me just coming up with stuff arbitrarily, let's use the charts that we created. Yeah. Let's see what one of the other mercenaries is. Give me a percentile, chat. We'll open up our random table. I will arbitrarily decide one after we decide what this guy is. So what mercenaries are sitting in the 68? This is an anthropomorphic. Cool. A D20. Something cool. Something cool. 10. a bullywug. Oh, I've got a really cool token of one from a long time ago from another campaign. So let me, his name, I think it was one of Matt's characters. His name was Brog. There we go. There's Brog.
All right, I'm just going to grab a soda beer.
Okay, given that he's an established mercenary, I don't think we're going to go totally random for class. I think we're going to pigeonhole Brog into a warrior-type class. So I do have a table for that, but we're not going to like accidentally roll up a stupid wizard or something like that. Give me a D12 for what kind of warrior class is Brog? Two is barbarian. Cool. All right, Brog will be a barbarian. He's going to be. We want somewhere between 2 and 4. So let's roll a D3 plus 1. That will be Brog's level. A D3 plus 1, so he's a 3rd level barbarian.
He'll get along well with the monk, I'm sure.
All right. And then we need one more guy, and because every time we roll randomly, I am reminded how fun random rolling is. Let's roll one more. Who's the other person that has come to the call of this witch? Ugh, no. Ugg is on the road of tears right now.
Ugg is our boy. Ugg is our boy.
Although, so the masters are in the Imperial City. Ugg and the others are on the road of tears. I will eventually create a map. Like there will be a map. And somewhere in between where these guys are is Vaddapol. Vaddapol's a major stop along the way to the Imperium. I am going to, in my DME pull string sort of way, have all these characters kind of meet up somewhere along that path, be it in the Imperium, in the Imperial City, or in Vaddapol, or along the road. So there will be events that I will that will likely happen that will force them all together. But like the beginning of a story, not all people have met yet. All right. So Neidzer Creigh is waiting in the 64 is the roll, is waiting, and we'll come up with a name of the tattoo parlor, and we'll stick that label on the map, and you'd be surprised after time how fleshed out things get. 64 is a native outsider. Weird. I need a D12. So let me just show you, 64, native outsider. I have played with these charts since we played last. I added more races to the ancient and powerful races and reduced the chances of them coming up. And I've tweaked a few other things. Nine is one of the elemental races. So in older versions of D&D, they were called Ganassi, and now they're called... I don't even know.
They've each got their own name now. It's...
Yeah, but they also did before, too. Ganassi was the kind of like genie or our elemental race. So we need a D5. I know. What does that even look like? Sort of like a D6.